Hi, everybody. Tommy here from Queers and Soaps. I just wanted to introduce you to some friends of mine who are about to embark on some fun soap opera discussion. So tune in and enjoy, and I will see you soon.
Hi, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, and I'm joined by Karen as usual,
Yeah, I'm
chatting
here.
about Swan's Crossing episodes 31 to 35. Tommy will roll the credits and we'll get into it. This show. I know I always start with that, but it's the truth. Um,
It's a strange little show.
Strange little show. Strange. All right, so Sydney tells Garrett basically that his scheme is a flop. She's not buying it, but she really is. But she's telling him that because, whatever. And he has this smug look on his face all the time and this smile, sleazy smile. Um, uh, Says he's gonna tell his dad. That's what he's saying. So I guess, I don't know what his dad would do with the information. I guess use it in the campaign.
Yeah, and he gives her the deadline of the Friday episode. So the party on Friday is when he's going to blow up her spot.
Yeah, he's gonna reveal it at the benefit that's talked about, which we already, we definitely know that's the Friday episode, which we didn't have last week, a big thing.
No, no, we
Um,
were doing more of this.
then I have bald dude outside of Glory says yes, one of those
Yeah.
spy people.
What was that about? Was that because
I
of
don't
her
know.
little like because she still has JT's poetry book?
I don't know. I'm so confused by that storyline. I have no idea what's happening. Um, Countess and Mila are talking about organizing the benefit. Um, it's for what is it?
The nudibranch. Nudibranch?
Which
I
is a
looked it
type
up.
of snail.
It's an underwater, like a sea snail, and they look so cool.
And the captain's very into it, and I guess she wants to impress the captain for some reason. I don't know if she's trying to bag him or what.
I think she is. I think she is. Also, we're starting to see that all the adults were as close as the kids are when they were the same
Hmm.
age. So we are
Yeah,
starting to see like the relationships that they used to have when they were younger.
yeah, they all know each other and they all used to hang out.
Hmm.
I know it's kind of funny. I guess it's like a Peyton Place, small town type situation.
Peyton Place. Those people are mean. These people seem happy to see each other.
The captain and Callie are talking about going to the benefit. He says how Countess keeps harassing him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Keeps banging on his submarine door, calling, doing
Mm.
whatever she got to do. I
Yeah.
guess I guess she almost feels that maybe after that conversation with Mila, she's like, I don't have anything for myself. Like I keep doing this for my daughter, and since my daughter doesn't need me anymore, I'm just gonna go try to get this captain back if she, crushing on him or whatever.
I think she was always excited that he was in town because they've mentioned earlier that like he was back and they all seemed a little aflutter about that. So maybe before he was married to Callie's mom that she had like a huge crush on him because it does seem like she is trying to bag him.
Yeah. Sandy comes in with this hair, this terrible orange wig, basically.
No, it's not even a wig. It's worse than that. It's spray on hair color.
Yeah,
And
it's a bad wig, but it's supposed to be her hair, but it's a really
no,
bad wig.
it's her hair. It's not a wig. They sprayed orange color on top of her hair. It's a spray. That's why it looks
Really? It
awful.
looks like a wig for sure.
No, no, it's her hair with orange color on top. Trust me, I've done that crap to my hair.
We all have.
Yeah.
Hence why I hardly have any.
Oh, wait.
Thanks, Sonnen. Um, and you're not around anymore, suckers. Um, so she peroxide her hair, and then Sydney's like, "Can't you do anything right?" Like she always just gets shit on, this poor Sandy. Like it's really sad.
I noticed
She,
in this scene that Sandy seems to be cracking under the pressure a little bit
hmm
because what she did was she peroxided her hair, which of course then made it brassy and orange. That's the natural consequence of doing it that way. But like
Right.
she was trying to make herself noticeable and pretty, and Sydney is so horrible.
Sydney pisses on it, so she
Yeah.
basically just storms off all mad. Ralph and Sydney have a moment. He tells the story that basically makes it sound like she's not the daughter of the mayor.
She's like,
Again, feeding
Sandy,
into this.
Sandy has so much personality. She's so much like what your mother was like. And Sydney's like, what about me? And Ralph looks at her and goes, well, you were different.
I almost feel like everybody's in on this secret and like just trying to fuck with Sydney. It almost, I mean, the way they're making it, because this stuff wasn't talked about before this storyline.
No,
It's kind
no,
of funny.
it's definitely a
It's a
thing.
tad of, it's over the top, and it's like in every scene. It's just ridiculous
Yeah.
at this point. I feel like once an episode with different people saying it, maybe, but it's like every time she's in a scene with somebody. Garrett and Glory talk about JT and him and Garrett not being able to hold on to a girl because he's always, being a dickhead.
Well, he makes fun of her for having JT as a boyfriend, and he's like, "That's a
Because he doesn't
0."
like JT. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he looks at himself, but then again, he craps on himself too because he goes, "But I have no girlfriend, so that's less than 0." So like it's kind of funny. It's a little humbling, but it's also cute.
You love a good dirty dog.
I do.
Um, so then Sandy comes along and he said something shitty about her hair, and then he finds out Sydney didn't like it, so now he loves it.
Yes, absolutely.
He's like, oh, it's great. It's a shame. And then I have bald dude lurks
Yeah, that's
through
gonna be like
every episode this
every
week.
episode is just him with, I guess he hurt his ears when they smashed the bug, because there's this whole thing going on where he has cotton balls in his ears, and people keep finding them in places, which means this guy's been lurking all over town.
Yeah, like what I don't understand that. Like, what is happening with this? Like, are they trying to like catch this person? Like the what is it, Professor
Professor
Van?
Van, yeah.
Are they trying to catch him?
Yeah, looks like
Because
it.
and I guess maybe they're not sure of exactly who it is because people keep throwing them
It's
off.
a
I don't know.
very weird storyline to have in
Very
the
weird.
middle of all of this just straight up teen drama. There's just this high key weird spy adventure happening at the same time, and it's like weird and campy and almost doesn't belong there, and it's like
I know.
I don't know
It
where it's
really
going.
doesn't. I have
Yeah,
no idea. It's been since day one.
it feels very strange. Yeah, it has been since day one.
I
Yep.
know. So Bobby's at the submarine. Him and Callie have a chat. Um, Callie said something about Sydney is lucky to be alive. Do you know
Yeah,
why she
I
said that?
no. I
I was
have a
confused
hard
by that.
time paying attention when Callie's on because like I don't particularly like the storyline she's in. And I know she was talking to Bobby, but she seems to say the same 4 things over and over again.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, a
Very
lot of
expected.
that this week.
I love Jimmy, but I'm not going to talk about it. Dad, you need to
Right.
get out there, and Bobby be a person. And then it's like the next plot line.
Yeah. And basically they talk about going fishing, and that's that. There was really nothing exciting.
Yeah, she loves
Um,
fishing, so she just decides to take Bobby fishing.
yeah. Glory's walking around town. Jimmy scares her. He comes out of the bushes or something. And then there's still the bald guys around. She just suspects it because she's a smart girl.
Right.
Um, she meets with JT. She says she was reading his poems and that they're so sensitive, which cracked me up.
They're so bad. They're the worst poetry ever. She is a delight that
They're
she
the most sensitive thing I ever heard, Karen.
yeah. You know what? You're
Ridiculous.
bad at poetry too.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Mila and Owen meet up with this dude, Billy something.
Gun.
Billy Gunn?
Gun.
Yeah.
And of course he's British because it's the 90s.
He sounds very fake British. He doesn't sound
Oh
like a
yeah,
real
he
Brit, but
does
maybe he
sound
is.
really fake British. So either they told
Yeah.
him to play up his accent or that guy's from Brooklyn and we don't know.
Yeah, right.
But he's like the quintessential bad boy look. It's like he's got the long blonde hair,
Blonde hair.
he's got the attitude, he's got the clothing, very 90s, very grunge.
I at first thought it was the bully from Hocus Pocus that because he looks similar to me, the blonde one that she hangs in the cottage.
Mhm.
I thought it was him. I didn't look him up, but I mean, it could be. I didn't get a real
I
good look
didn't
at
look
him.
him up. I was like, "Really? We're gonna have this type character already? Like, it's a little early to be
Yeah.
adding the bad boy." Like, it's crazy.
I mean, it's mid.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
I like Mila's line. Sandy, your hair, it's very unusual.
She tries
She's so
so
nice.
hard to be nice to everyone all the
She
time.
does.
But the looks on Sandy's face all the time now, I just keep thinking this girl is a serial killer. She's good. And if she did end up a serial killer, I would be a witness for her in court that those people deserved it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they are horrible to her.
So yeah, Billy ends up inviting her to his concert as a guest. Now the concert didn't happen, right? I'm thinking that's going to be next Friday, but I could be wrong. Um, the Countess goes to the captain again. He goes, "Come on in, man." She's like, "Man, has it been that long, Captain?"
Yeah, she's adorable.
I know. I love this woman.
Yeah.
Um, I have Sydney and Ralph. They're still talking. He's in it a lot, I guess, this week.
I like Ralph. I think he's a really cute addition, and he seems to really care about Sydney. Like he doesn't take
Yeah.
the pot shots that the other characters take at her. He seems very sweet.
Well, he does in a way, and because but not knowingly,
No,
because he does. They look at a picture of like the mom and the grandma, and he's like, she looks a lot like Sandy. I'm like, really? Are we? We just keep needling that shit.
yeah, he
It's
doesn't
ridiculous.
know. That's not an intentional thing on his part,
I
unless they
didn't say
all
intentional,
very
inadvertently.
inadvertent. Likes to pull out the big words.
Yeah, like like I don't know, it's just getting ridiculous at this point. Um, Mila says Billy is a stand-up guy, which we haven't. Does she know him? Did she know him from the past, or I
No,
forget?
her uncle, her honorary uncle knows
Uncle
him,
set her
so
up.
she's taking her uncle's opinion on him as gospel. And to me, he just seems like a guy who saw a hot girl and is using any excuse to get closer to her. And Mila is very naive.
And they go off together, and Sandy is once again upset because nobody invited her
Well,
along.
because they go over to Owen's to listen to Sandy's music and they don't invite Sandy to listen to Sandy's music. Remember,
Yeah.
Sandy wrote the lyrics for these terrible songs that she sings, and she sings lead on them.
And I guess Sandy doesn't have the confidence to be like, listen, it's my music, I'm going too. Like, as that's what I would have done.
I I would have been, "Hey, I'm the singer of the band. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you." I wouldn't have stood
Hmm.
there and been like, "Let me just wait passively until someone notices me or murder a bunch of people," which is Sandy's
Right.
go-to. I don't
But
understand her. Mm-mm.
but everybody shits on her. It's a sin.
Yeah.
Um, JT and Glory talk about his poems, and then there's some guy. Did he have a turban on, or was it a bad
He
wig? I
had
couldn't
a
tell.
red turban on, and
Okay, I couldn't
I
tell.
wrote in my note, "Turban red guy asks about book." I did not know.
Yeah,
Again,
and that's
it's such a strange add-on to this
so
TV.
strange.
So
And that's the
strange.
end of that episode. Do you have any comments on that one?
Um, Mostly I just the whole
Wasn't too
situation.
exciting.
No, it wasn't too. It seems like it's setting up for the rest of the week, and it wasn't too
Mm-hmm.
exciting. I
Mm-mm.
I kind of hate Owen right now because like he's in this band with Sandy, and Sandy was literally his only friend in town until Mila showed up, and he can't even see that she exists anymore. He doesn't notice her hair is different. He doesn't notice anything. He's a bad friend.
Not only that, I also feel like Owen's not in it that much this week. Like
No,
for it
no.
being a kind of major storyline. He's
Yeah,
very side, or I just don't notice that he's there.
no, he's there for like we get to see that he lives in the studio, so the studio is probably his garage. Um and we get to see him like grossly eating while he reads lyrics, and I think that's it for the entire week.
Yeah, it's
Eh,
yeah.
ugh.
So episode 32, we have Owen and Mila are together with Billy. They don't really do anything. Barrick and Callie are doing that weird shit again, talking about He's doing late night ice cream runs and all
Yeah,
that.
she's noticed that he's up to no good and nobody else has, but she is terrible about stating her position because everything she says just sounds like, he's a guy and he does stuff in town.
Yeah. And then Jimmy's there, like I don't know if he's like supposed to be hiding, but then
He
Barrett
is
calls him up.
because remember he went to the submarine in the last episode and saw her with Bobby and then ran away for some reason. I mean, he's aware that her and Bobby are friends.
Right.
So I didn't particularly understand why he did that.
I don't either.
And now he's hiding from her while they argue about ice cream. And Barrick's like, I have the ice cream in the freezer. And I'm like, why?
I have
Why?
JT and Neil chat. They didn't really say much about anything.
Yeah,
Um,
I wrote they chat. They didn't talk about anything. It was like
no.
a bunch of science words and then we moved on to the next people.
Yeah, Garrett treats Sandy to lunch. Apparently they had dinner or breakfast together as well.
Yeah, he's
So
really buttering her up. And
yeah, to screw her over.
well,
I'm
I don't know if
sure
he
in a
wants to
worse
screw
way.
her over. He wants to
He
screw over.
doesn't.
He wants to
But
use
by
her. Yeah.
yeah, by doing that to
We
Sydney,
both
he's
get
gonna
it.
screw her
Yeah.
over. Yeah, it's a shame
Mm.
because once again, like I like honestly, this series has got to end with like Sandy with a knife. That's what I wanted. That's how I want that.
I would
Like I will kill everyone in this town.
I would love it if the last episode was everybody dead on the floor with like Sandy standing on top of their corpses. Um,
Yes,
I do.
yes.
I don't know. Remember what
I
they were
don't
talking?
blame her. I wouldn't
No,
blame her at all. She gets shit on every single episode. There's not one good thing going on in this girl's life except for her music career in a way, because even that's getting sidelined for
but you know
Mila
what
and stuff.
she really needs to do is dump Owen and get herself another musician to work with because Owen screwed up the demo tape because he couldn't get his brand new girlfriend's voice on it. So they didn't even have a demo when they needed a demo. He never wants to work on the music. And if Mila shows up, he starts ignoring Sandy 100%. And I know there's got to be at least one more person in town that plays a musical instrument that she could just go form a band with and maybe leave this town. Like, get the
I
hell out
know.
of here, girls. Run.
Yeah, this town ain't for you, girlfriend.
No, I can't take how they treat her. It's so rude.
It really is, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much more can they do to this poor girl?
I hate it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, me
I want her
too.
to punch someone, hit someone, shove someone in the pool. She
Me
needs
too.
to show some.
It feels like Carrie, like it really does.
Yes, it does feel just like
Um,
Carrie.
it does. Like I feel the way I felt when I saw that. So
Mm.
Neil and JT, they mentioned Yubi Tubi. Sydney leaves the place. The boys follow her for some reason. Oh yeah, aren't they going to see? This is where they're going to see his dad, right? And Sydney's trying to get there first.
So they're at the pool club, whatever that place is, and they're waiting for Neil's dad to
Swan's Pool Club, of
Swan's
course.
Pool Club. They're waiting for Mr. Atwater to get to dessert because they think that's the best time to ask him for more money for the UB2B project. Now, while they're talking to Sydney, Neil is incredibly rude because he looks at her and he says, to dumb it down for you, it's chaos theory. And like he explains chaos theory to her in a very like child friendly
Mansplain,
way. Yeah, he's really like kind of dickish
voice
about it.
plain.
So then
Yeah.
like I feel for JT because JT got screwed over when Sydney jumped in there like before them. But Neil kind of deserved it. So it was fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Rude. It was rude.
It was rude. Um, so yeah, Barrick gives Callie and Jimmy ice cream. He
Too
mentions
much
the
ice cream.
benefit.
Too
I
much
know,
ice
right? So much ice cream. Sandy calls Mila, asks about the music and she asks about the singing lesson. And she's like, yeah, I guess. Like, I'll still give you lessons. Like, this is where, come on, girlfriend.
I do also think that Mila is 100% oblivious because she wants
She
to be.
is. She
And
is.
it's like, come on, you have to know that you're not just because even with Sydney and Nancy being like hugely rude to her all the time, she's just like, I'm so glad Sydney's my friend. I'm like, you can't be this pathetic.
Yeah. So I think this is the part. how I think Mila tells her that Garrett lied about liking her hair.
Um, I don't know
Mila
if
tells her, right? Or does Sydney say it? Can't
Sydney does.
remember.
But before that happens, um, Gunn wants to see Owen again because he likes that little guy or whatever. And then Glory drops off some books at with the librarian, and
Oh yeah,
she wants to learn about science. She wants a basic understanding of science so she can understand what the hell Neil and JT are saying all the time, which I think is
yeah,
cute. She's trying to get interested in what's going on around her. So I kind of liked that.
yeah. I have that as after that, but sometimes I mix my notes up, so
Yeah. Well, no. And I mean
like there's
I have a
storylines.
random note that just says sabotaged by Sydney and I don't even know what it's about. Like, but
Well,
then we get to Mila Sandy and the hair being awful.
yeah, and Sydney went to get the hair dye from the Atwater dude,
That's why
or
she was there, and
yeah,
she lies to Sandy and tells her that that will turn her hair blonde, and it just turns her hair back to brown, which was
yeah,
awful and cruel. And
yes,
also they just had their whole conversation across Sandy without involving Sandy in the conversation they were having.
yeah,
And it was awful. Like,
it is. And they push her down too, don't they? Like 'cause she like said something and they push her down
yeah.
and continue
Yeah. So
talking.
like she keeps trying to interject into the conversation and they're like, lean back, you need to let the color set. So they keep shoving her out of the conversation that they're having over top of her. It's just crazy. And like
Yeah, we're
the last thing I would talk about, well, what I got Garrett and Glory. They talk about the cotton balls being everywhere because Garrett finds one outside their house,
yeah,
and then Ralph returns books that Sydney had gotten out to the library, and him and Professor Han start gossiping and talking about how like they're the only people in town who know
yeah,
everything that's
that was
happening.
funny.
And I was like, are they flirting? Because they seem like they're flirting a little bit. Because
Yeah.
they were both talking each other up, and it was a very nice bromance to see.
Before that, I do have that Jimmy and Callie were having a bonding moment.
Oh yeah, I skip
Um,
them in my mind all the time.
I know you do. Let's talk about her hair. We did the hair dye stuff. Oh, yeah, she said something about wanting to be blonde again, like when she was a baby. Sandy, and I was like,
I think she just wants to stand out, and Mila's a blonde, and Mila's getting all the attention, and I'm
yeah,
pretty
she's
sure
getting all
that's
the
what it's about.
attention. I have Garrett and oh, is it that Garrett and Gloria are the ones that found the cotton ball, right? That
Yes,
time?
yeah,
Yeah,
because they were talking,
yeah.
and he was just like, "What the hell is this? I've been finding these all over town."
And Ralph and Mr. Han say that they're the cleverest men in Swans. That
Telling
cracked me up.
me, telling me that they're right, and I love them. Ralph is so
Uh,
great.
yeah. Oh, and then at the very end with the hair dye and all that stuff, Sydney sees her face on Sandy's face, which cracked me up. I was
Oh,
like, what?
she's so delusional. She has so many
So silly.
hallucinations.
They
I
all
feel for
do. They
her.
all do. It's crazy.
They do have a lot of fantasy sequences.
The end. Episode 33. Spy Guys are on. That cracked me. You have it. Go ahead.
So
I know you-
the bald guy has decided to put camouflage on so that he's untraceable in town, and he chooses to put a bird's nest complete with eggs in it. It looks like robin's eggs on his head, and
I can't.
he's talking to his home office or base or whatever with this thing on, and he's like, I am very secured, I am very hidden, and he's just walking around with the bird's nest.
So
I
funny.
was dying.
Me
This
too.
was incredible. I laughed the entire time it was on. Good work. That was
Seriously.
brilliant. I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, yeah. If if anything, it probably was like the most interesting part of the Spy Guy episode was when he did have a nest on his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, in this one they reveal Sandy's new hair. It's back to brown. Jimmy and Callie wonder what Barrick is up to because he locks them out of the garage once again.
Yeah,
Because
and
he's the spy that we're all knowing that he is.
right,
And if
and
he's
Jimmy
not,
is
then I
just
don't know
like,
what he's doing.
we need to go get parts for that project we're working on anyway. So who gives a crap? We just need to go do stuff. And
But
Kelly,
everything's there, I think.
yeah, everything's in
Yeah,
there except the part they wanted to go get at the store. And he said he'd be back in 30 minutes. And they came back a couple hours later and it was still locked. And then
right.
Jimmy just convinces her to go somewhere else and do nothing. And I'm like, Callie, break in there and find out what this guy is up to. He's so sus. He's so
I
shady all the
know.
time. Oh.
Seriously. I know.
I really got upset about the brown hair in this episode because like that was a complete breach of trust and like a consent issue. Like she didn't
Yeah.
consent to have her hair dyed brown and they told her blonde. They lied to her and if she kills them all, I'm for it.
Well, Mila said she didn't seem to know because she's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Mila, but I am blaming like Sydney because that was awful.
It was.
It
But
was
yet
really,
again,
really messed up.
Mila and Sydney seem like they're like best friends. Like, I don't understand what's happening with that.
Yeah, because Mila is watching Sydney do these awful things to other people.
Right, right.
And she's just like, I'm so glad we're friends. And I'm like, you're really over the lack of consent in that last scene very quickly, Mila. Very quickly.
Yeah.
Because I would be very angry if we did that to another friend and like you had bought the wrong hair dye on purpose. Like I would be like, what
Oh,
the hell's
right.
wrong with you? And she's over it
Um,
in 5 seconds. She's done.
I have Garrett runs out. Where's he running out?
Garrett
Sandy's
runs
there and
outside
sad about
because
her
he
hair.
he sees the stalker. He sees one of the guys outside in camo. So he goes outside to see
Oh,
what's
so he
up.
runs.
And then Sandy is there and um he's just like, why do you let them walk all over you?
I don't even
Because
think he did that because he asked about Mila. He's like, oh, how's Mila?
no, he did. They talked about it because she said she was at Mila's and what they did. And then he went, why did you let them walk all over you? And then he starts kind of like being friendly with her again. And I actually thought that was a good line from him, even though he'll use it for evil later on.
Mila and Sydney talk about Billy. Sydney puts on this was funny.
I did
Sydney
love
putting on
this.
the wig. Yeah, me too. This was a good funny episode.
Very cute.
She was pretending to be Billy. She's like, "Call me, Mila. Call me. I'm Billy." Then she pretends to be the Countess, which cracks me up.
She was funny because she like was like, is that what you would say to me? No. And I was like, she's really doing a great job here. This is super cute.
And then guess who comes in to ruin the mood? Good old Nancy.
I'm sorry, but Nancy still has no last name. She still
And she's
has,
still an asshole.
she's an asshole. She has no family. She has no ties to this
No
town. And
friends.
she constantly calls herself Sydney's best friend. And Sydney never looks like she wants to see Nancy ever.
I have Nancy comes in being the usual douche.
I wrote the same thing. I was like, Nancy enters, huge bitch.
She asks about Garrett and Sandy because she saw them earlier in the day or whatever, and Sydney runs out. Um,
Oh, and
Callie
then
and Jimmy. Okay.
Mila gets a phone call, and the phone call is Sandy inviting her to have a soda at Swan's.
No, for some reason I don't have that.
I just wrote it in parentheses because it happened really quickly.
Callie and Jimmy hang out. They look at the stars and they eat weird shit out of a baggie. I'm like, what is this baggie? It
Was
was
this
like shrimp is coming out of there. I'm
was
like, what is this?
was this a thing in the 90s that we just didn't have any Tupperware? We just like threw everything in a big freezer bag and then just took it wherever we were going? 'Cause
Right?
I don't remember doing that.
And I did think it was cute when they were like looking at shapes and seeing what they saw in the sky. 'Cause I'm like, people actually do that. I think I
I
did
mean,
that
they do, but to be honest, that scene was so obnoxiously boring that I was like
I didn't
considering
mind it.
I was going to skip it. I cannot stand them together. I think they're the worst pairing.
Garrett sets up a meeting with Mila through Jazz. Jazz is being a little bitchy again, it seems. She's back to
Well,
normal.
because he had Sandy set up so Mila would come to Swans and Jazz knows that. So she's like, that was a shitty thing to do. And he's like, whatever, mind your own business. And
And she doesn't
I
ever.
kind of agree with him because like it's your job, girl. Like get out of it. Get out of the
But
business.
yeah, Mila ends up just walking out anyway, so she doesn't stay long. Um, Garrett puts a note in the rock wall.
Yeah. It's so
It
dumb.
says she has till the benefit tomorrow to till he's going to reveal it. Um, the spy finds the note and puts it in a baggie.
Yeah, like Sydney rips it into little pieces and puts it there, and then the spy grabs it. And I feel like he said something, but I was like, "What is happening?" And I just
I
like, I don't get it.
I don't either. I'm so confused.
This episode was
Um,
hard on me because there was so much time spent with Jimmy and Callie attempting to be cute, and while you enjoyed it, I suffered.
sorry. Episode 34. Sydney. Oh, wait, what? Sydney digs. She digs for something.
So Sydney is hunting for her mother's copy
What?
of her birth certificate.
Oh yeah, she's looking around
So
for
they
it.
start the
Right.
episode in a really cool way. It's almost like they have the camera point of view of Sydney's vision as she's shifting and sorting through all these old boxes, and then it pulls back and it's Sydney, and we find out that she is looking for her birth certificate because she knows that that benefit is coming up and she doesn't have that
Yeah.
much time. And then Ralph arrives with more boxes, and the last one is the mayor's keepsake box, which is a cute
Yeah, that's what I
looking
have.
ancient box.
Yeah. And
And
then she said she's saved. I'm like, why is she
because
saved from that?
she thinks that the keepsake box, if it's that important and it's locked, will have the important documents in it. So she thinks
Uh,
that's what she's looking for. And then she asks Ralph to pick the lock.
my next note is Neil and JT. What are they doing?
Talking science. So
Okay, I don't even know. So if you
So there,
know, go for it.
there's two things they're doing. They're talking about science in a stupid way, and they have made a breakthrough on the UB2B where the fuel is excellent, but the container that holds it keeps melting. So they start discussing heat shields to try and protect it. I don't know why I remembered all of this. It's insane. So then
I don't.
um, Neil, Neil is upset because Neil is always upset that other people have lives. And the Countess has asked them to do the nudibranch, right? The
The
snail
snail
reef
thing.
for, for the presentation because she wants the captain to know that she took it seriously. And
Right.
JT's like, it's not a problem. You know, we have to do more than science. And he's like, no, we don't. And he's like, but if we blow this off, then the Countess will be hunting us too. So we need to do it and go to the party and stop being you, Neil.
Yeah.
And
Take 5 minutes off.
yeah, like he's so annoying with it.
Yeah, he really is.
And then they start roughhousing over his poetry because he wrote another crap poem.
Callie sees Barrick doing shady shit again.
She's
Um,
following him, but that camera angle made it seem like multiple people were following him, and I really was confused by it.
I'm confused at what I wrote. So Sydney finds the box is locked. Ralph says, "Did you break a nail?" Ralph gets his tool, and I guess he helps her out with the box.
Well, she says, I broke a nail. And he says, you broke a nail. And she says, I broke a nail. And he's like, oh, you broke a nail. And I was like, Ralph is being like really funny right now.
Sagacious.
I love him. He's so fun. I know I've loved him from the beginning, but now that he's getting a bigger part, I'm even more entertained by him.
Right. Mila calls, says Garrett's a liar, a cheat, all this stuff.
Sydney says, get over it.
Sydney says, we don't talk about Garrett.
She's right. Mila calls, and it's like literally, you know, Sydney was dating Garrett, and you're calling Sydney to talk about how Garrett sucks. Sydney knows Garrett sucks.
Right.
Like Mila's ridiculous.
I have Kelly fills Jimmy in on Barrick shit, so nothing much there. Jimmy says she's jealous, and he walks out.
So one of the things that I always come back to in the show is what time is it? Because when Sydney is breaking into these things, apparently the mayor is asleep and it's super late at night. So why is Callie, who's afraid of the dark, remember, following Barrick in the middle of the night? And then we get to Mila, who calls Owen, who's asleep. What time is it?
Like 9:30.
Why is Owen asleep at 9:30? He's what, 15? Like, you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're 15. I never know what time it is. This world is so weird. It makes no sense.
Then JT and Neil talk about going to the benefit because I
Yep.
guess because he doesn't want to go.
He never wants to do anything. He's boring.
The spy calls for Professor Vaughn.
hmm
JT says not there, tells the dude to get the agent in Swans. That's what I've written.
Well, okay, so JT tells the guy that he's not there, but then they try to keep him on the phone long enough to trace the call. And when they trace the call, they find out that it's coming from wherever the pool is, the Swans Club thing. So they now know that this guy is in town somewhere. Right. And then Jimmy sneaks up on Callie and she wallops him, and he deserved that.
Sydney has this crazy thoughts in her head. One of those reminder moments of Garrett being the wizard, and then she's hearing her mom say certain things. This is where like it's all, I guess, spiraling for Sydney.
Yeah, but that happens
Very
after
weird.
She keepsake box open because it doesn't have the birth certificate in it. It just has a crystal swan.
Oh, right. Yeah, I missed that note.
Which was really cute because Ralph opened it for her and like unlocked it, and then she chased Ralph away because she didn't want, and he wanted to know the hot goss, and he was kind of like lingering, and she's like, you gotta go, and he's like, I guess so. And he finally leaves, and I was like, Ralph, stay by the door. But it's like a really cute like crystal cut swan, because of course it's a swan. And she doesn't check anything else in this box. Like, this box has a back pocket, and I'm pretty sure there's something under the velvet that the little swan is sitting on. She just sees the swan, takes it out, and she goes, ooh, pretty. And then that's it for the keepsake box. And then when she falls asleep, she has that crazy nightmare, which was driving me nuts because it kept repeating.
Me too. It was bad.
I get it, though. That's what an anxiety nightmare is exactly like. Somebody did a great job of portraying it on television.
All right. And then who comes in to ruin everything? Good old Nancy. She comes to Sydney's.
Again,
she comes to Sydney's to gossip about Sandy.
Is it noon? Did she go back to sleep until the afternoon?
I don't know.
Time is so weird here.
Time doesn't exist in Swan's Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
She comes by. Apparently, she's going to help pass out campaign flyers. Oh, Sandy does.
Sandy comes by, yeah, when Nancy's there. So like Sydney is like deep in depression. She doesn't even want to get out of the bed. She wants Nancy to go the hell away. Nancy won't leave. Nancy wants to talk about everybody's outfit in town because Nancy is a weird trad wife in training. And like Sandy shows up and she's like, hi. And she's like, Nancy, not even Sydney, goes, what the hell are you doing here? And Sandy's like, I'm here to pass out flyers for the mayor. And Sydney's like, for my mother, because she's like whacked. And she's like, yeah. And then I'm going to the booths later. And they're like, why are you going to the booths? And she's like, I can go wherever I want. And then she just leaves the room. And I'm like, yes, Sandy. Yes, you can.
Yeah, girl.
I know. Finally.
And Nancy also says that Garrett was in a good mood. I don't know. I guess that has to do with because now Sydney's like nervous that she's going to get screwed over.
Sydney just looks at her and goes, shut up and leave.
And Sydney looks out the window and sees Garrett and Sandy chatting. And that's the end of that one.
That's so... And the spies are spying on everyone.
They're all around. Or the one guy is.
So that I mean, literally that anxiety dream gave me anxiety. So well done.
Seriously, me too.
Yeah, and also I love when she looks out the window because it's so clearly framed as she's in a prison of her own mind. Like it's just, why didn't you just talk to your mother? Do you think after 15 years or whatever, your mother would be like, even if we weren't blood related, like you're still my daughter? Like she doesn't have that faith in her own mother.
Right. And they
think your mother would give you back? Like, okay, that's fine. You're not my kid. They would just be like, okay, Sandy's my kid too. Move her in.
Right. And it seems like they have a good relationship, like a decent one anyway.
They're very close. they always like the mayor Muffy always seems very like loving towards her daughter. So I don't know. It just to me, it's I guess it's that little kid brain where you're just like
Yeah,
life is a drama. But I just feel like there's no universe in which the mayor would just turn around after raising her little girl
right, right.
and be like, I don't love you anymore. Like, I don't.
Sorry.
But I guess her anxiety is really what's
Yeah, it's really getting to her.
you know.
So episode 35, it's benefit
Friday.
time, Friday.
I love this
Um,
benefit so much. I love
Muffy
it.
lent Ralph to the Countess to use for whatever I guess she
That was
needs
so
done.
cute. She's just like, I had to fire everyone, and now I need you, Ralph.
And they're doing like the seating arrangements and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Grant and Garrett are heading to the benefit, or talking about the benefit anyway. Garrett leaves. JT comes for Glory.
He's so cute because he squeaks.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that high pitched squeak.
Well, the dad was a little intimidating.
The captain and Callie are getting ready. Mayor and Sid are getting ready. Everybody's
so
just getting ready to go to
so
this
funny
benefit.
because Sydney is dressed with this weird big red headband, and she's just skulking behind her mother, looking traumatized. And I'm like, this is some great acting. I love this.
Yeah. JT and Glory go with Grant and his wife. Do you remember the wife's name? I
Cornelia,
don't remember. Is it? Oh, I guess it's hard to forget.
Cornelia Booth.
Um, Neil and Bobby arrive. Captain gets there with Callie. Muffy and Sid arrive. So this thing's going.
Yep.
Beric seems to be chatting with the captain. They seem to be
Oh, he's totally fishing for information and trying to get on the captain's good side by talking about how he suddenly read all of his papers. And I'm like, Barrick, come on, man. Come on. But it was like, I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of like Tony Stark when he's like talking to the Incredible Hulk and he's just like, I've read all your papers. Like it's the same kind of weird. And I also like that you turn into a giant rage monster. Like it's the same kind of energy that Booth is like. Beric is just there trying to insinuate himself in the
yeah,
situations.
because he's a spy.
And Callie knows this because Callie is like, this man can't have 437 careers. I'm sorry, that's just not possible. Like, so, and then he's like, oh, I could sit with the captain. And they're like, no, you have to sit at your assigned seat. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I love Callie in this scene.
Garrett and Sandy arrive together. Nancy asks if Billy is coming with Mila. Sid just seems perturbed the whole time.
And Sandy's blonde now.
Yeah.
She's blonde. And not only is she blonde, but Garrett's mom is the one who helped her do her hair blonde because remember she did her makeup before.
Yeah,
And
she works
then
at that place.
Grant Booth is mad about it.
Sears.
Like, you're doing hair. Like, he's so frustrated with her. It's starting to
Right.
look like that Garrett's parents are headed for a divorce.
Yeah, they seem interesting.
They seem very unhappy with one another.
Countess makes an announcement. Everybody have a seat. Garrett's taunting Sid. Mayor says Sid. Wait. Mayor says Sid is first Rutledge that has light eyes. This is where we go again with this shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, come on, dude.
Just keep twisting that knife.
It's just ridiculous. Nancy and Jimmy end up at the same table. Callie sees them and walks away. I don't understand that. I mean, that's
Because
where they're seated.
he's so insecure when it comes to Jimmy. How many times can Jimmy say, I'm interested in you, and have Callie just be like, every woman who even looks at Jimmy has a better chance than she does. She's very insecure.
Yeah.
Also, I loved when the mayor saw Grant Booth and just went, ugh. I was like, that is such a genuine reaction to somebody you can't stand. I was like,
exactly.
Yeah, I loved that. That was such good acting. I love the mayor.
Yeah, she's good. She doesn't do. I didn't. When I looked her up, she doesn't do anything. That was like her only thing.
That's shocking because she is
So
so
maybe
talented.
she does theater. She might be in theater.
Maybe. I hope so. She's awesome.
Do a deeper dive investigating.
Yeah.
So I have Grant is being a tool about his wife doing Sandy's hair.
Yeah,
She did
definitely.
say. Countess announces Captain Walker. He goes on about snails.
I actually thought that was really disrespectful the way his speech was handled because she announced him with like a harp and all that, which is fine, except that she had that guy dressed as a nudibranch like crawling on the ground, and
Yeah.
she had like synchronized swimmers in the pool, and for some reason the pool was square. I think they just had one swimmer and they split screened it.
It did look like that.
Yeah. And they had like it was so funny because even when she said she did all this research, she's like, well, Neil helped me with the research and I took it very seriously. And then there were ladies dressed in weird nudibranch costumes. And he goes, did you do that? And Neil's like, no. Like, so the scientists are on the same page about how silly this is. But again, I did think it was kind of a baller party.
It was. And then after the captain is done, we get a song from the Countess.
About nudibranchs.
They believe in real exaltation, simultaneous fertilization. Who to thank, who to thank, who to thank for the nudibranch, the precious nudibranch. Oh, I have you to thank for introducing me, then seducing me with its charms. We will roll with the wallops and eat coral polyps. I'm stuck on you, nudibranch. I've grown fond of the mucus. You know that it's true, 'cause I'm stuck on you, nudibranch.
Why did I love this song?
Because
I
okay,
was like,
so
this is very entertaining.
and also what I liked about the song is that it kind of recapped the facts that the captain had said about the nudibranch. So it shows that she really did do her research on these
Yeah.
stupid little like. And by the way, go to the internet and look up nudibranchs and look at the pictures. They are the most psychedelic looking snails you will ever see. Some of them glow. They're rainbow color. There's purple ones with like neon hair. They're awesome
Yeah,
looking.
I don't remember seeing them at like the aquariums or anything. So I wonder
I
if they
thought they
came.
were fake. I thought they were made up for the show. And then I saw in one of the they do the little synopsis of the episode. I saw how it was spelled and I went and I Googled it. And they are super cool looking. Super
Well, we
cool.
know that this show likes to do very weird things, so I guess they pulled that out of their ass as
I
well.
I guess so. I
But the
guess
captain
so.
is impressed, and he says it was extraordinary, so he was happy with it.
I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not.
I don't think he was. I really
let's,
don't. I think he
let's
was
hope he
really happy
wasn't.
because
Let's hope he
no,
wasn't.
I don't think he was. I mean, she went all out.
I do think though that they were very bored during his speech and like they focused on Cornelia a lot in that section. Garrett's mom. I don't
Right.
know, I couldn't tell if she looked depressed or she was bored or maybe it was both because she didn't seem very happy after Grant was tearing her a new one for being nice to Sandy. I guess you're not allowed to be nice to Sandy.
No, nobody can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I guess Cornelia will be the one she keeps alive. You know, there's always that one.
I did like that at the end of the party, all the parents were talking to each other and they literally were
Yes.
recounting the like million times the Countess has thrown an insane party.
Yep.
They're like, remember Grant's birthday party where everything went crazy? And it's like you get to see that all of these people were friends.
Yeah, I like that moment. But we still
And
didn't see the Atwaters, right? Or did I? Were they there?
Neil said that the Atwaters were going to be out of town, so they weren't going to be at the party. And
So Neil's neglected, basically.
well, I mean, do they need to pay attention to him? He just doesn't do anything but science. They know where to find him. It's
They're
at the
bored by
library.
him,
They're
so they
just
just leave
literally
him
like
all the time.
JT's parents are basically raising him, and we haven't even seen JT's parents.
Yeah, that's true. We
He
haven't
doesn't
seen
have
JT's
parents.
parents
Owen
either.
doesn't have parents. JT doesn't have parents.
Mm-mm.
Nancy doesn't have parents. We've mentioned the Outwarders, but what does JT stand for? What's his last name?
Mila has no daddy.
Mila has no daddy. Sid has no daddy.
So
A weird world.
my final note is Garrett and Sid, they stare at each other and then she walks toward him and the end.
Look at that evil, evil, evil look on Garrett's face. I laughed. I was like, "You little shit!" Like, he's just he's enjoying this way too much, and
Like
like it's
are you
destroying her.
do you think he's just gonna go on with it? I mean, or do you think I don't
No,
know.
I think he's going to do it. I think he wants to drop that little rock into the pool and see what happens, and he doesn't even care. And that like
Yeah, he
on
doesn't care that it could destroy him
I think on one hand, it would
himself.
have been really funny if he did it for a week and then he was like, "Yo, I faked it. It's nonsense." And then you could be
Right.
like, "That's me getting you back from whatever." But this is like
It's been 2 weeks.
it's like somebody pinched you and then you nuked their house. It's like such an
Right.
overreaction to this like she didn't love you enough to go against her parent even though like
Right.
all of your parents hate each other and it would be very awkward and hard for you to date in this kind of Romeo and Juliet setup. So it's like yeah, she was weak and she failed in one moment, but you were also flirting with Mila all the time. So Garrett, you're not perfect and you don't deserve your flowers for the situation. But it really is like a nuclear bomb to deal with something that was not on that level.
Yeah, right.
I just want to know what's going on with these stupid ass spies. Because we did see, even in this episode, we saw Beric pumping the mayor for information, and
Right. So
he did find out something. He found out that the Boots have a research facility,
yeah.
and it was like a farm for research. So he did get information by being his smarmy ass self.
See, so these little tidbits that we're getting from this, I guess, is going to end up being the big finale, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I
But
know
it's very tidbits.
it is like they're breadcrumbing us in a really
Yeah,
hard
totally.
way. Yeah, and I kind of like that because it keeps me interested in this storyline that I don't think
So-
should be here.
Same.
I feel like it's from a different television show. I feel like we have two shows going on at the same time. One is JT and Neil super spy victims, and then the other one is just Teen Drama Land. Because
Yeah,
like
for sure.
look at the level of the arguments in the other storylines versus this we could all be killed by spies.
Yeah. And if you put this whole storyline together, it's probably 5 minutes long at this point.
Right.
Because it's literally like 10 seconds, 15 seconds of these guys throughout all these
And
episodes.
I know they show the red and green people as like a little silly and over the top, but it is
Right,
kind of menacing to have a full grown man standing outside a 14-year-old girl's window.
for
That's
sure.
not a good feeling to see that. And like, the silliness, the overtopness kind of like takes down the level of freaking me
Right.
out
I
that
mean,
is, but it's still freaky.
he's not there for her. Like he's there to find whatever's
But
happening.
he's still
It's
looking through a
perfect.
child's window and
Right.
spying on her, and that's
Well,
weird.
he didn't know at first, though. You know what I mean? He didn't
No,
know what
no,
he was
no.
getting
He's there
into.
to do a job. I think Barrick's
Right.
actually creepier.
Yeah, for sure.
I find Barrick very unsettling in every scene he's in. And like, because he uses the same swarmy charm on adults that he uses on children, which makes me feel like he doesn't differentiate, which is he's
Right.
weird. Oh, I don't like him.
Well, people, we're almost halfway there through the series, so we'll bring you more in this week or so.
What if they don't resolve things? What if it ends on a cliffhanger? I will die if I don't know what the bald men want.
Well, we do have a person that's going to join us one of these days that's going to tell us what his fanfic is, so that'll be exciting to see.
Oh, wow. What? Yeah.
Right.
I need to read it ahead of time. You got to get that for me.
But thanks for joining Queers and Soaps. Like us on or follow us on all the socials. Subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you think of this series. We would love to have some comments to chat about what you want to see us talk about and such. Have a good day, everyone. Ta-ta.